Hello everyone, Joshua Myers here, and welcome back to my 31 Days of October review series. In fact, this is going to be the last video for my 31 Days of October review series. By the time you'll see this, it will be uploaded October 31st. I'm not recording this review on October 31st. In fact, it's Wednesday, October 30th at 4:14 in the morning, and that's in Mountain Time. But I give you that bit of an update, and knowing that also, you may end up seeing multiple videos posted starting the 30th and the 31st. So I could try to finish the 31 Days of October review series. And with all this said, let's get to review.
From the people who brought you Halloween, more of the night he came home. Halloween 2.
There was nothing within him, neither conscience nor reason, that wasn't even remotely human.
Don't miss the all-new Halloween 2. More of the night he came home. Halloween 2, rated R. The horror continues. Now playing at a theater near you.
Halloween 2 stars Jamie Lee Curtis, Donald Pleasence, Charles Cyphers, Lance Guest, and it's directed by Rick Rosenthal. The plot of Halloween 2 from 1981 is that after failing to kill stubborn survivor Laurie Strode, portrayed by Jamie Lee Curtis, and taking 6 bullets from former psychiatrist Dr. Sam Loomis, portrayed by Donald Pleasence, Michael Myers, this time portrayed by Dick Warlock, has followed Laurie to the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital, where she's been admitted for Myers' attempt on her life. The institution proves to be particularly suited to serial killers. However, as Myers cuts, stabs, and slashes his way through the hospital staff to reach his favorite victim. Before I get into my positives and negatives, for me, I will point out, I do kind of have a love-hate relationship with this movie. Like, the last time I watched it, which was when me and Josh were watching these movies, because at the time he only seen the original and the remake. He'd never seen any of the other films, and this was before Halloween 2018 came out in the theater, so I was like, dude, we gotta watch these. Like, you gotta watch these. If you're going to watch Halloween 2018 with me, you gotta watch these. And now he would consider himself a fan of the franchise, although not as big of a fan as I am, but still a fan nonetheless. That time when we got to Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2, mind you, I don't know, maybe I was in bad mood or something, or just felt irritated, but I really hated this one. I really hated the original Halloween 2 then. And I was like, I had so many issues with it. I still, granted, I still have issues with this movie, which we'll get to when I discuss my negatives. But I don't know what was up with me. And before, I used to love this movie. And then again, hate it, like the last time. And it's just, I don't know what it is, really, with this film that makes me have this love-hate relationship with it. But either way, whether I end up loving it or hating it, I still have some key issues. But before we do that, let's get into my positives. And my positives for this film is that, for one, I do like the concept of this being a really direct sequel to the first one, where it opens up right at the end of the original Halloween 2. Like, right at the end of the original film. Like, seriously, like, not even moments after. Like, it's just literally the end of the film, and then it continues on from there. That was brilliant. I gotta say, brilliant. I think that was like Rick Rosenthal's idea, I I'm not sure. But whose ever idea it was for that, they deserve all the credit. And knowing that this film, for the most part, does feel like it's still within the exact same movie as the original. Also, I like the fact that basically we got back here, like, actors like Donald Pleasence, Jamie Lee Curtis, Charles Cyphers, and all of them. And they still feel like, again, it still feels like, not necessarily a continuation, but the same characters from the first movie. It still feels like that. And knowing that some of the music is really good. And for me, I actually do have the soundtrack CD to the original Halloween 2, which I picked up on Amazon for like $10. Plus shipping, maybe free shipping, I don't remember. So yeah, it was a pretty good deal. And this was 30th anniversary expanded soundtrack of it. Yeah. But honestly, the remaster of the score on this CD is really good. But yeah, enough of talking about the soundtrack here. But yeah, again, the music's really good. I give props to John Carpenter and Alan Howarth for composing the music for this. But I still have issues with the music, which I'll get to in negatives again. Like, it still even feels like the first film. Even it's down to, like, the cinematography, which was provided by Dean Cundey yet again. And it still feels like that first movie with the way the camera, like, with the way they direct the camera. Even as far as color correction and just everything about it screams the first movie. And knowing that there are some moments of suspense in this movie. Not going to lie, there are. And also, I do like some of the new characters. I like all the nurses and doctor characters that appear in this movie. Also, I like the idea of it taking place in a hospital for a sequel. I think it gives itself, like, I think it's a visually interesting location for a horror movie. Also, the ending is really cool. Not going to lie. What are my negatives towards this movie? Honestly, for me, there's a few negatives that, for me, keeps this film from being really great, at least as great as the original. And that's, for one, Dick Warlock. I know he was probably trying his best, but honestly, his performance wasn't that good as Michael Myers. He was too slow, too robotic. Like, and he looked like at times he had a little stick for his ass. That's how he walked at times. So, I would preferred if they got Nick Castle back to portray Michael Myers, or, you know, somebody, you know, who could, I wouldn't necessarily say copy Nick Castle, but, you know, just, yeah. I felt his movements were too slow. There were times where his movements would be a bit fast, like when he held his head like this. Like, move his head like that. Like, that is good. Like, as far as with my portrayal of Michael Myers, if you've seen my short films in it, when I tilt my head like that, when I turn my head like that, you could see a little bit of the Dick Warlock performance in there, just a little bit. And that's the only thing I took from Dick Warlock's portrayal to throw into my performance. Just how he turns his head, like. Also, another negative regarding characters is Laurie Strode. And she's good. Like, Jamie Lee Curtis is good in this movie. It's just, she's incapacitated throughout most of the movie. So, there's nothing much to her character at all in this. Also, speaking of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, let's talk about that twist where it turns out that Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' biological sister. So it turns out he had another sister, which ended up being Laurie Strode. I don't really like that twist. I don't like that addition to Laurie Strode. I don't like that addition to the characters of Michael Myers. And plus, I think it makes Michael less scary because it gives him an actual motive for why he's going after her. Like, I feel like if you were going to give Myers a motive, like, at the very least, maybe have it to be the reason he's still going after Laurie Strode in this is because she is the one who she is, like, the victim that got away, and that's it, and he just wants to finish the deed. You know, like, that would have been preferred. In fact, they kind of did that with Halloween 2018. Also, from what I'm aware, I heard that basically the original version of the original Halloween 2, like one of the earlier cuts of the film, actually did had a lot more of the suspense and everything like from the first film. It had no gore, no nudity, and apparently John Carpenter decided to reshoot some scenes to add that stuff because he felt like without that the film would not be able to compete with films like Friday the 13th and films like that of that time period. And I kind of get where he's coming from, But honestly, I felt like that was a big mistake. Like, I think it would have been much better of a movie if he did not add that stuff. And kept it like the first film where it's like more suspenseful. There's no blood or gore. There's no nudity. Just keep it like that. In fact, that's what I do with my Halloween short films. I keep it like how it was in the original film with that. Now, did I sometimes show blood in that? Yeah, a little bit. But I do that very rarely. Like, very, very teeny tiny rarely I show that. I keep it so minimum. Also, even though I do like most of the score for this movie, I do have issues with the score composed by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth. For one, I don't like it when they use the sting sounds for jump scares and I know. Let's talk about that too. Let's talk about both. I don't even like the fact that this film is riddled with jump scares. Like, there was even a jump scare in which involves a cat jumping out at somebody from a garbage can. How fucking cliched can you get? Also, let me go back to the whole Laurie Strode is Michael Myers' sister plot twist. Honestly, for me with that, like, not only do I not like it as a twist or anything, or like it as far as what it does to their characters and that, but it's completely pointless. Seriously, if you rewatch the entire movie, that bit of, like that plot twist, so pointless. You could cut it out of the movie and, like, it would not be missed at all. Like, you wouldn't miss it. Like, it doesn't affect Laurie Strode in a way. Like, hell, it barely even affects Loomis in a way after him knowing that. Like, it does for at least that one scene where he finds out, and in the rest of the movie, it's almost like never happened. But overall, I think this was a pretty decent follow-up. I would have done some, like, if I was in charge of making the original Halloween 2, I would have done some stuff differently. And probably would have tried to say no to John Carpenter as far as certain stuff goes. Like, the stuff he wanted to add it. I would have been saying, no, John, don't do this. And honestly, I would have been like, John, if you were to do this, I quit. I would quit if he did that. And sure, John Carpenter's like one of my film director idols, as far as that goes. I wouldn't be afraid to stand up to him on some issues. Like, for example, if I ever were to collaborate with John Carpenter on a film project like that, which that would be awesome, but if he were to try to do anything like that, in which I feel like it's not necessary now, in fact, if he ends up like that, I just kick him off my project. I'd be like, okay, you did enough. Like, you've done enough good for this project, but because of this, you're now off the table. I'm not afraid to do that. I'm really not. And with that said, I'm going to give Halloween 2 from 1981 a 3 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I think it's an okay sequel. There's some stuff I really do like about it. Other stuff I really hate about it. Well, hate might be a strong word. I would say don't like about it. Stuff I would have done differently if I was involved with this movie. So that concludes my 31 Days of October review series. Of course, after this, I still plan on doing more reviews. This is not the last you've seen of my reviews. And I will still be doing horror movie reviews. But after this month, I'm kind of winded out from watching like horror movies / Halloween related films. So I'm probably going to be watching other films and reviewing those. In fact, I may end up watching all the Star Wars movies and reviewing them just in time for the release of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, and maybe some other movies along the way. But that's it for now. Thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. I shot him 6 times!